Hi guys, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan, and we're looking at our recent auction purchase of a Mazda Autozam AZ-1. And so that's a turbocharged 660cc mid-engine rear-wheel drive sports car, I guess if you could call it that, from Mazda, that was to compete against the Honda Beat and the Suzuki Cappuccino and the K-Works of the era. And so back in the 80s and early 90s, these types of vehicles were fairly popular, and it isn't until now that they're becoming popular again with vehicles like the S660. So this one was bought from auction for export to the USA. This will be one of the first ones there because they are only now becoming available. This one I believe has to stay here in Japan a couple of months maybe before it can be exported. I'm not too sure. Anyways, it is quite an interesting vehicle. This is the vehicle with the gull wing doors, and I'll show you that as well as the interior, exterior, and first off we're going over the auction sheet. Okay, actually let me go over the engine first because that's how we usually do it. It's just that the engine is kind of in a weird place in this one. Okay, so let's take a look. This is a 660cc turbo engine supplied by Suzuki, which actually many K cars are because many manufacturers don't want to go through the financial hassle of creating your own engines, so Suzuki sold to many manufacturers, including Mazda and Mitsubishi. It is a turbocharged intercooled engine. Cold air intake here is custom, and intercooler is hiding in there. Intercooler intake is right here on the side, and so that's very cool. The side vent actually has some purpose there. The engine is a little bit clicky, but that's normal. That's the sound of the injectors that you're hearing right now. It could be an aftermarket injector, but I kind of doubt it. It seems like a lot of the things are stock on this car. You can see stock exhaust. It actually has stock suspension. Okay, the F6A is a 3-cylinder, and it is mounted this way, a la old Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and so kind of neat. What is there to say about this? I'm not too sure. I guess the oil looks fine. The coolant looks like it's okay. Probably needs to be changed. The color is a little bit bad, but the level is just fine there. I do find it a little bit interesting that the intercooler is way over there because it actually uses a lot of piping. You see that intake goes like here down to the turbo and then back to the intercooler and then back around to the intake here. I think that having an intercooler right here with some vents right here to force some air through these vents in the back would be a much cooler setup, sort of like the Porsche 911 turbos, like the 930 had a system like that. Anyways, let's close the hood. And it does have a front hood as well, but inside there is nothing. It has the spare tire and brake master cylinder, and that's basically it. Okay, so have a look at the car. It is cool. It is tiny too. Like, it makes my car look huge, and my car is a tiny little car. And so this is K-Class. K-Class means that has to fit into size regulations, as well as max engine size is the 660cc, max horsepower 64. The F6A engine is a little bit of a liar engine. In some trims you're getting more than your 64 horsepower, plus it can handle a whole lot more boost than it puts out on standard. I had this engine in a K-Works that I had, and it was quite fast for being so small. Okay, I do have to get a little bit angry at the car. It has a hood scoop there that doesn't actually do anything unless cooling your brake master cylinder in this corner over here is doing something. I don't know. It's not even the intake for the air conditioner unit and the heater unit. Kind of weird. Okay, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves there. Let's go over the auction sheet here. So it's 1992 AZ-1. This one here says it's the base grade car, or just the regular one. 660cc. This is an auction grade R because it has been repaired from an accident. Interior C. 68,053 kilometers, but a star here saying the mileage is unknown. It says that they don't know if that mileage is correct. Now, a lot of K cars have 5-digit odometers. This one has a full 6-digit odometer. This is the little hint. It says in 2011 it had 57,000 kilometers, and now it has 68,000 kilometers. So Seems like not very much mileage in the last little bit. And if you look at the tires, they're 2007 with 80% tread on the front and about 50% tread on the back. So it hasn't driven very much recently. It has, it says it used to have a number plate on it, aftermarket wheels, and they are SSR wheels. Whoa, cars behind me. Yikes. Let's not back up into one of those. So yeah, 14-inch SSR wheels. Kind of cool to get a brand name wheel on a car. I didn't even recognize the wheels when we bought this one. Okay, console has been modified to fit some aftermarket gauges in it. Seat saggy and steering wheel and seat wear. Wheels, door mirrors scratched, various scratches, dents, and repairs. Right front inner panel and core support dented. Various aftermarket parts, underside surface rust, and exterior has paint repair marks. You can see on the side here W3 on both full sides, and on the back, W3 is usually something that I recommend not going for. It usually needs a repaint, and so the paint on this car I would consider to be pretty bad. Now I will say that considering as W3, it doesn't look as bad as W3 usually does. Have a look at the paint. So typically W3 is worse than this, and so that's good, I guess. Not I guess, that is good. Okay, front lens is cracked. They actually modified these lenses to fit in and ended up cutting them because those aren't the original lenses for it. I don't know what those lenses come from. Look at this. This is the brake cooling duct. That's funny. Oh, the AC compressor is in there. That's neat. And the AC does work, and it's very cold in this one. Windshield rock chip, and that's basically it. One windshield wiper. And the front glass is fairly wraparound style. Okay, so let's do once around of the vehicle here. And it is unfortunate that this is a video and not real life for the people watching, because you can't really get an idea about how small it is while it's on the video here. I should park it next to a GTR. It will look tiny and make the GTR look massive. Okay, visiting the tree. We missed this in the last two videos. Hello, tree. And have a quick look. So pretty cool. It says Mazda Speed and HKS Drift Performance on the side. I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen one of these drifting before. They are pretty rare cars compared to the Cappuccino and the Beat. Quite rare. Ferrari style or F40 style rear wing. And custom made carbon fiber little thing on the top here. Doesn't fit the best, but it is cool. Okay, so condition wise, the paint is really the biggest problem. There are basically no scratches or dents anywhere, but there are paint bubbles. The worst part is on this rear wing, so let me show you that. Okay, now the roof is made out of glass. You can see right down into the car. There's the seat. Sorry, lens. And then there are some black covers. I wanted to take them out. Here they are. And so those ones pop up here in case you don't want to have sun in your eyes. Okay, you get a tiny, tiny little window here. Only that lower section will roll down, similar to the Toyota Serra. So opening the doors is a little bit fun, especially for first time. The lock is right here. Very strange. And then to open it, pull here, and up goes the door like so. Now the door dampers on these are known to break. These ones work okay. Okay, so these are aftermarket seats by the look of it, because they don't bolt. See, this is our first time buying one of these, and when it's my first time with the car, I'm always really interested to see how everything is, but I don't know the vehicle that well, and so at first glance I was like, are those the seats that originally came in it? But no, they don't match up with the proper bolt location. You can see that's where they usually go, and it's been moved there, and so these aren't the original seats. Just like the auction sheet said, here's saggy right there. You don't notice it while you're driving. Back has been modified with some speakers and a CD player there, because CD player doesn't actually fit in the front. And you don't get a trunk in this car, so behind the seats has basically all the room that you get for putting stuff. So it's not really the type of car that you're going to go shopping in. Okay, no power steering and no power windows. Everything is mechanical and lightweight, and that's why it gets to be a fast car. 64 horsepower is usually not what you think of as fast, but you can turn up the boost. You can get 100 horsepower really easily out of this engine. Okay, so getting in, you have these really tall sills here to get in, and it's quite a challenge, to be honest. You do get a lot of room here for your body to get in, but you have to put your foot in first, and then my legs are too long with the seat all the way back. Maybe original seats are easier than this, but my foot has to go underneath the pedal in order to fit underneath the steering wheel. And then once my foot is underneath the pedal, see, you go like this part's pretty easy. Got your knee is here, and then to get your knee underneath the steering wheel, even with this flat bottom steering wheel, my foot has to go underneath the pedals, and then it'll scratch your shoes if you do that. Now that I'm in, just give you a quick look. White gauges there. They look really much like the version 4, 5, 6 Subaru Impreza gauges with the white faces and the 4 gauges laid out like that. There's a boost controller there, but it's only running at like half a bar boost, which is like 7 PSI, and I think that's stock. Dashboard's in pretty good condition with some minor scratches at the corner over there. Don't know if this fake carbon fiber is normal. Turn the AC off so that the engine stops fluctuating. How do we do off? There we go. Okay. Now it doesn't show where the engine red lines here, and so I don't know. It goes 140 kilometers an hour. That's funny. But this one goes all the way to 11. The version of this car that I had red lines at 9,500 RPM, so this one might be the same. I don't know. Check on the internets for that. Seating position is a little bit weird. The steering wheel is a little bit toward the center, so it's a little bit odd. It's not really that bad though, but the clutch has a bit of a problem, and it makes it uncomfortable to drive. It can be fixed though. For one, these are the socks I only wear when I run out of socks. There's not much room for your gas pedal, and then it rubs up against this hard plastic while you're driving and kind of grips if you have grippy shoes, and so watch out for that. The throttle is not smooth because it needs to be greased, but that's pretty easy to do. Brakes feel great. There's in fact an aftermarket brake. No, there isn't. That was a different car. Never mind. But the clutch is the big problem. And so the clutch, and maybe you guys have seen this before, I have, it goes down, 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 and gets quite stiff, and then all of a sudden it reaches an engagement point, and bam, it goes against the floor. And that part where it switches between the pressure and the no pressure, that's right where the engagement point is with the clutch. And then because this is sticky and a little bit difficult to get the revs that you want because of how small the pedal is, it makes it really difficult to move the car forward without it going chung 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 or revving too high. And so it's an easy fix. A new spring and greasing up your throttle cable is going to fix that. Here are the modified gauges. You can see it's been just like a plate with some foam. This is sideways, kind of funny. And the shifter is, I think it's in a pretty good location. It is notchy, but there's not really much that you can do about that. It's only going to annoy certain people, like me. Okay, now let's close the door. To do it, you go like this, and pull it down. And I'm going to duck a little bit because you don't get much headroom in here. So this is what it looks like on the side. Here we're driving, and then up. There you go. And let's see me. That's how much headroom that you get when you're 5'10". And so, yeah, people who are taller than me, probably a difficult car to drive, I would say. and I'm fairly skinny. It would be nice if the seat went a little bit further back, but I could still drive like this. Shorter than me, better, I think, for this car. Seems to be pretty clean in here. Pretty nice and very strange. And definitely gonna get a lot of looks in this car. Now, one time I sat in one of these and I got trapped because I couldn't get out the window and I couldn't open the door because the dampers were saggy and I needed somebody from the outside, because you don't have a lot of room here for leverage for pushing this door up, and it's rather heavy. With the dampers, no problem. You just open it up and it goes up basically by itself. If the dampers don't work, really difficult to get out. Getting out itself is a little bit tricky, but you just put your arm or your hand here and then you can boost yourself out. And then closing the door is a little bit annoying. Be careful, don't try to close it by this. I did that one time just because it is annoying closing the doors. So I went to give this a yank and this part here is sharp and it hurt my hand. And so I don't know where you're supposed to grab. There's nothing to grab here. And then do you just put your hand on the side of the door and push down? I don't know. It is kind of weird, but that's the only way that I can think about, is to go halfway down here and then you have to push against the damper, which is a little bit hard, and so you grab here and then give it a push down. Okay, so weird little car. Definitely something that we haven't bought yet, but we're probably going to see more of them now that they are legal for the USA. Mazda Autozam AZ-1 K car. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. You can post in the comments section if you want. You can check out our website. There's a link to that in the description. So thank you everyone for watching, and have a nice day.